Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Jim Hovland, your Edina Mayor, and this is the Mayor's Minute. It is Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. I think we've almost been in this COVID period about a year now, and so many people I know have the travel bug. They want to go somewhere, they want to do something, my wife and me included, but of course we're reticent about doing that. I hear over at the Transportation Advisory Board from the MAC that the airlines are now about 50% full, so some people are traveling, but nevertheless, because travel increases the risks of getting and spreading COVID-19, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, is still recommending no travel. And at least get in the position where you delay travel and stay home to protect yourself and others from COVID-19 until you get vaccinated. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So the CDC is recommending that if you must travel, you should get tested with a viral test 1 to 3 days before you travel, and again 3 to 5 days after your trip. And then stay home and self-quarantine for a full 7 days after you've traveled, even if your test is negative, because we know about the false positives and false negatives that we have going on in this world of COVID testing. So stay home 7 days if you do travel after you get home. If you don't get tested, stay home and self-quarantine for 10 days. So there's another recommendation from the CDC. This recommendation is in addition to the requirement for a negative test to re-enter the U.S. for international travel. I don't know anybody that's doing international travel, but I do know folks that are traveling domestically, and they're all being pretty cautious. So now we're going to see up on the screen a list of things that you need to do to protect yourself if you must travel and to protect others against COVID-19. We don't want to be exposing anybody unnecessarily or having you get sick on us either. So if you're eligible, we need to have you get fully vaccinated for COVID-19 as soon as possible. And I think all of us are waiting for that. Even in my age bracket, I'm still waiting to get a vaccination. And then they're saying wait 2 weeks until after your second dose before you decide to travel anywhere, because it takes time for your body to build up the protection after any vaccination. And I mentioned earlier, you need to get tested with a viral test 1 to 3 days before you travel. Keep a copy of your test results with you during travel in case you're asked for those copies. And don't travel if you test positive, of course. Make sure you stay home. And then check all these travel restrictions before you do go. And then remember, it's some of those same things we've been talking about for about a year. Wear a mask over your nose and mouth, both your nose and mouth. I see people now deciding that they're not going to wear a mask over their nose, so their mouth is covered. That's a mistake. Wear it over both your nose and mouth. And then remember that masks are required on planes, buses, trains, and other forms of public transportation traveling into, within, or outside of the United States, and in U.S. transportation hubs such as airports and stations. In fact, I would say a couple of the folks I know that have traveled by air have been double masking, so you might think about that as well if you decide you need to go somewhere. And then make sure you avoid crowds in the airport. Stay at least 6 feet away from anyone you're not traveling with. It's important to do this everywhere, both indoors and outdoors. And then make sure, of course, that you keep your hands clean as much as you can and use hand sanitizer, and bring extra supplies such as masks and additional hand sanitizer. And then, of course, we all know this, avoid contact with anyone you know is sick. And do not travel if you were exposed to COVID-19, if you are sick or you test positive for COVID-19. And don't travel with someone who is sick. So those are kind of the key points around travel from the CDC. Let's get through this together. We're hoping that we can get vaccinated soon. We're starting to talk with other communities about mass vaccination locations. So be mindful of that as well. And then I think we're all being mindful of the drugstores soon being able to vaccinate people. So keep in touch with your drugstore as well, your pharmacy. So this is Jim Hovland, as I said, your Mayor's Minute. Let's get through this together. Let's be smart. Let's be safe. And we'll see you next week.